Good morning, Facebook, YouTube, Daily Motion, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your first video blog of the day for Sunday, March 8th, 2015, around 7:25 in the morning in Billerica, Massachusetts. Daylight savings time starts today. We lost an hour of sleep, but we gained an hour of sunlight, which is good. Temperatures are going to be about 40 today, a mix of sun and clouds, maybe a flurry or a sprinkle, but nothing significant. Some news to report. The Harvard men's basketball team will be facing off against the Yale men's basketball team in a one-game playoff to decide the Ivy League championship and an automatic spot in the NCAA men's basketball tournament next Saturday in Philadelphia. It's Happy International Women's Day. And the Florida Panthers are keeping pace with the Boston Bruins for the last playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. The Panthers won a shootout against the Islanders last night, so the Panthers are only 2 points behind the Bruins. And the Bruins play today against the Red Wings at 12:30 on NBC, and Doc Emrick's going to be there. And hopefully the Bruins start a major winning streak, but you know, you can't. I'm not holding my breath on that because the Bruins have been so inconsistent this year. Once you think they're going to be turning the corner, they go on a slide. So I'm not really optimistic about them going on a major winning streak. And that's about it on the news. My next subject is about the classic TV game show, the 10/20/25/50/$100,000 Pyramid. The Pyramid game show was one of the most popular game shows of the 1970s and 1980s. In its original run, it lasted over 15 years. It's still reran today on the GSN. The Pyramid was a very exciting word association game show, and also they won big money in the winner's circle. The Pyramid was created and produced by Bob Stewart. Bob Stewart worked in the 1950s and 1960s with Goodson Todman Productions. He created and produced such game shows as To Tell the Truth, The Price is Right, and Password. He struck out on his own as an independent producer in 1966, and he had a couple of moderately successful game shows like I Guess and Three on the Match, which was hosted by Bill Cullen, but The Pyramid was the signature game show of Bob Stewart Productions. And CBS ordered a pilot of a working title called Cash on the Line, which the main game of the Pyramid was actually the bonus round, and celebrities and contestants had to guess 10 word subjects in 60 seconds. CBS liked the game, but they thought the bonus round was a little bit difficult because they had a funny feeling that many contestants would not guess the 10 words in 60 seconds and win the big prize. So they told Bob Stewart to rework it, and he did. He put the bonus round in the main game and had a new bonus round, and he named it the $10,000 Pyramid. And the $10,000 Pyramid made its debut on CBS on March 26, 1973. Hosted by Dick Clark, the world's oldest teenager, and it was announced by Bob Clayton, and it was filmed in Ed Sullivan Studios in New York City. Bob Stewart was one of the last TV producers of game shows to stay in New York when game shows were being moved to production in Los Angeles in the 60s and 70s, because I think Bob Stewart still loved living in New York. And the main game of the Pyramid was a celebrity and a contestant of two of them playing against each other, and they had like 6 subjects on a pyramid board, and each subject had like a title, and they had to get 7 words as things associated with water, or things associated with a TV weatherman, or things associated with any subject. And the contestants had to get 7, and the celebrities had to get 7 words in 30 seconds for points and stuff. But if they used an unacceptable word or part of the word, there was a cuckoo, and then they couldn't get the points. And the most points won after three rounds. In the event of a tie, they would go to a tiebreaker, and they continued to go to tiebreakers until somebody got one more point than the other team. And then they went to the winner's circle, and they had to have 6 subjects. Some of the subjects were easy, some of the subjects were hard, and if they got up to the top of the pyramid within 60 seconds, they won the $10,000. But if they did not get up to the top of the pyramid, they would get various dollar amounts, and if they used any form of the clue or be too descriptive, they lost the right for the $10,000. The bottom tier of the pyramid was 3 lines, was $50 each. Second tier was two like subjects, $100 each, and the third one was $200. And if they did not get the $10,000, they would get the money they accumulated and won for each subject they got right. And they continued to play the game. And the contestant who lost left the game. And on the CBS version from 1973-74, they continued on until they won the $10,000 or lost the game. It was a big hit for CBS for about a year, but the $10,000 pyramid was preempted a lot because CBS News had to carry the Watergate scandals during this time period, so CBS canceled it. A few weeks later, on May 6, 1974, and ABC picked up the $10,000 pyramid, and it ran for 6 years into June 27th, 1980. And it was a syndicated version of the pyramid. It was the $25,000 pyramid, hosted by Bill Cullen, which was once a week from September 1974 to September 1979, was seen in Boston on WSMW TV 27. And this version of the pyramid was basically the same, but they added a special category. A special bonus prize during the first or second round called the Big 7. If contestants got all 7 subjects within 30 seconds, they would win a cash prize of $500. Plus the system that both contestants played the entire game, and they swapped celebrities in the second round. And in the winner's circle, at first they tried to go for $10,000, and the scoring system was changed. And the bottom tier was $100, the second tier was $200, and the top one was $300. And if they went for a second time, they could get try to win $15,000, so it was $25,000. It was a big hit. In January of 1976, the ABC version became the $20,000 pyramid for inflation, and they had contestants play. First time they went to the winner circles, $10,000, second time $15,000, and the third time they continued or more, $20,000. If they won anything 10, 15, or 20, they retired, and they still had the losing contestant not come back. And $20,000 pyramid was a big hit on ABC. Was one of the top daytime television shows back in the late 70s and stuff, but the show was aging. 1978, it actually got the death noontime slot on ABC. Many ABC affiliates showed news at that time, so some ABC affiliates decided not to show it. I know Boston, it had to move to WLVI TV 56 around this time because Channel 5 used to carry it during in the afternoon or the morning because it was such a big hit. With the $20,000 pyramid, $25,000 pyramid with Bill Cullen into production in 1979. And the last pyramid episode was on June 27th, 1980, and they kind of had at the end they kind of had fake categories just as a signing off. The pyramid came back in a syndication in 1981, in January. It was called the $50,000 pyramid and was still filmed in New York. Dick Clark was the host, and this one was, instead of going from 30 seconds to 0 seconds, they went from 0 to 30 in the main game, and they had a time of the week. If the contestant had a time of the greatest time of the week, they would come back a few weeks later for a tournament for $50,000. And the winner circle was kind of different because contestants would go, and if they, the first game was only $5,000 if they won the top of the pyramid. Second game was $10,000, and this $50,000 pyramid was announced by Alan Kettler because Bob Clayton passed away a few years ago, a few years back, towards the end of the original pyramid run. Kettler was actually announced the last year of the $20,000 pyramid on ABC, and this pyramid was syndicated throughout the country. I know it was on WLVI TV 56, but this only lasted about maybe 6-7 months until it got canceled. In 1982, CBS revived the pyramid and called it the $25,000 pyramid. I mean, the new $25,000 pyramid, because Bill Cullen's version of the $25,000 pyramid was still being reran throughout the country, so they had to call it the new $25,000 pyramid. Dick Clark was host of this again, and they moved production to CBS Television City in Hollywood, filmed at the famous Studio 33, which is Bob Barker's studio, and gameplay remained the same, but there was some like modifications, like both contestants played the entire show and they swap celebrity partners. The main game, they kind of add some bonus categories. The first one they did was, for the first round, was a 7-11. If contestants got 7 clues right within 30 seconds, they would get a $1,100 bonus. And the second game, they had the Mystery 7, and they could not describe what it was describing into the end. And if they got all 7 clues right within 30 seconds, they would win a prize like a trip or a car or like $5,000. And at the end of the when they finished guessing, Dick Clark would announce what they were associated with, and the most points win with the maximum of 21, and if they went to 21-21, they would erase the bids, and whoever won the tiebreaker got $5,000 extra. And tiebreakers were simplified for this, so if like a contestant got, and a celebrity got like 7 clues, say like within 24 seconds, then the other team needed to get 7 in 24 seconds to win the game. If they didn't, then the other team would win it, and then they would go to the winner's circle first for $10,000, and subsequently, if the same contestant, $25,000. And it was a scoring system, but the scoring system was kind of modified. The bottom tier was, first was a $50, then $100, $150. The second one was $200, $250. The top one was $300. So it multiplied by $50 each subsequent one. If they got up to the top of the one, $10,000 or $25,000 the second time around. If not, they won what amount of money they won during the subjects they got right. And this was a scoring system to bring back the contestant the next day if it was 2 contestants at the winner's circle at the same time, first game and second game. And contestants stay on the air until they played the maximum 5 days or got over $25,000, because back then CBS had a limit of how much contestants could win in game shows, but that was up to $50,000. The thing was moved up to $50,000 by September 1984, and the $25,000 pyramid was a big hit on CBS. And then in September of 1985, they had a syndicated version of the $100,000 pyramid, and it was the game play remained the same, but they timed who had the fastest time in the winner circle for contestants, and the 3 top ones who had the fastest time would come back for a tournament, which they had every 7-8 weeks, for a chance of $100,000. And during this time, the tournament time for the $100,000, the gameplay, they did not have mystery 7s or 7-11s. It was just straight play through. And they, in the winner circles, they would have like the contestants try for $100,000, but they would make the subjects a little more tougher and stuff like that. If they got up to the top of the pyramid, they won $100,000. If not, then they would win the money, what they accumulated for each subject's got. And if they, and it was the same thing as like the regular thing, the contestants stayed on the air until they got the $100,000 and stuff. And if a contestant didn't get, sometimes it would take maybe a couple of shows or maybe a week or two. And this $100,000 pyramid was pretty successful as well. The CBS version of $25,000 pyramid ended in 1988, and the syndicated version ended in 1988 as well. But in the fall of 1988, reruns of the $25,000 pyramid hosted by Dick Clark, which was on CBS, aired on the USA Network, and it became real popular. One of the highest rated shows on the USA Network during the afternoon. The $100,000 pyramid was revived in 1991, hosted by John Davison, and it lasted about like through 1992 because Dick Clark was hosting another game show, The Challengers, and the gameplay remained the same and stuff like that. In the second season, the pyramid board was computerized, and they had some new categories: gamble for a grand, which they could like have like two words, like phrases within 45 seconds, and they get $1,000. And it was a pretty good, but the clearance was very low. I know that in Boston it was shown on WBZ TV4 for about a year, but they showed it in the overnight. And the pyramid was also revived in 2002, hosted by Donny Osmond, and 2012 by Mike Richards on the Game Show Network. And you know, these two versions of pyramid had variations, which, you know, you were okay, but the original pyramid I liked the best, especially the $25,000 one. And the $25,000 one's probably one of the top 10 greatest game shows of all time, and it's still on weekdays at 10:30 a.m. on GSN, the reruns. And that's about it on the pyramid. I'll be back later. Facebook friends, YouTube followers, Daily Motion, and Twitter with 2 more video blogs. First video blog will be about the old Orange Line elevated line. It came out of North Station in Boston, went all the way to Everett, Massachusetts. And the third and final video blog of the night will be about college basketball announcer on ESPN, Dick Vitale. Dickie V, baby. See you later. Bye now.